Hello and welcome to the Pretty Random Podcast, where the conversation is just that. It's pretty random. I'm Holly and today I'm joined by Luke.
Yo!
Jed! Welcome back. Oh my god, please say something.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Pretty Random Podcast. I'm joking. That was a beautiful intro. Yeah, it's good to be back, everyone. I'm Jed.
And that's Mark.
That's me.
That's him. Today we are doing technology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a bit like off the fly, the spark of genius from Luke.
We reached into our pockets, had a rummage around, came out with technology, so that's what we're doing.
What were the other options in your pocket?
Can't tell, no. TOS.
bit of lint. And
I'm really disappointed because I was under the illusion I was coming back for the Lint podcast and the Screwed Up Tissue special.
Yeah.
Right, well, everyone tune in next week for the What's in Your Pocket version.
Oh, that would be such a good podcast. Oh my god. Scrap what we're doing.
Mine would be exactly the same every single week, except my keyring changes every now and again. We've got a new keyring
Special feature.
That would be a really good episode, actually.
Damn it.
What I would like to just put out there, though, is that we do have several topics lined up. We just didn't feel that it was the right week to do every single one of them.
Yeah.
They all have very context. They're all context sensitive.
And some of them are better suited to certain times of the year.
As you will find out.
Yeah. Because we're doing the Christmas episode
Next
week.
Ah!
Got ya.
Next week. Oh.
Wow.
The What's in My
Internet
Pocket
Explorer.
podcast. Hooray! I said that. That was an original joke by me. Right.
Were there any penguins?
Maybe. Stay tuned. Okay, technology, guys.
Technology.
Where do we want to dive in?
Well, first of all, technology, we need to just say it is as broad as it absolutely gets,
Yeah.
but with a tiny little caveat that we want to try and stay away from games consoles as much as possible because we need to go back and do another video game special at some point because we didn't even scrape the surface the last time we did it. So consoles will come up. They're technology, but we're trying not to go off on a tangent about it too much. So if you get to the end of the episode and you're starting to think, oh, hang on a second, they didn't talk about the Game Boy. We might actually. But we didn't talk about the Game
Spoilers.
Boy. There's the reason why. So what we're actually going to do is exactly the same as we did in the 90s one, is go straight to brass facts because we don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
So Luke's inaugural brass facts episode starting words.
Luke is very excited for this.
Yeah, it's my first brass facts. It's an honour. It really is.
Shall I do an intro for you?
Yes,
To totally
Oh
mix
my
things
god,
up, wasn't
this
it?
is vintage.
Yeah.
Vintage.
We're
This
all
is
playing everyone. It's like
vintage
everyone's playing
Jed.
each other's roles today.
Yeah.
It's time for Brass Facts with your host and sponsor, it's Luke.
Woo!
Thank you, Jed. Thank you, everyone. So these are quite varied. Some of them get quite dark. There's some dark stuff out there. Technology is quite wide, right? So you'll see there's a kind of a theme as we go into it, and it's just that I went down a really dark rabbit hole when it came to
Hashtag
technology.
edgy.
You went to Reddit, didn't you?
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
I went to Reddit. These facts are all... No, they're not from Reddit. Right. These first group of facts are to do with the dark web.
Ooh.
So this is where technology sort of has got... It's taken a turn. Technology for the worst. So things on the dark web that are given, you can buy drugs, weapons, that sort of thing.
Should we just give a very brief introduction to the dark web just in case?
Well,
Yeah.
is the dark... Because you have like the dark web and then you have the deep... Web.
This could go a rabbit hole because I've done this with some people and there's 5 layers of the internet. The dark web's around 3 and like layer 5 is horrible. Like it's crazy. But essentially you've got layer 1, the internet you see, layer 2, 4chan, layer 3, 8chan, layer 4 is the dark web where you need a specific browser to actually go and to get into it, and that's where the Silk Road is. It's where they deal drugs. It's where you can get arms. It's where lots of other things I won't talk about happen.
And
that I don't
then
know
what's
anything
the
about.
last layer?
It's like nobody's in control of it.
It's like truly wild west
No,
with
but
Will
I think
Smith.
it's like the theory is that it's all actually starting to be machine controlled already.
They fucking... Those fucks.
Yeah.
Right, carry on, Luke.
So the dark web, like Mark said, you have to have a browser called Tor to get into it.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to describe it is the surface web is what everyone uses, which is pretty big, right? You can find there's a thing that they said on the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it. That's how big the surface web is. But the deep web, which is part of that, is the dark web, is estimated to be 400 to 500 times larger than the surface web.
That's absolutely terrifying.
So she's pretty hefty. She's pretty thick.
She big.
What? She big.
There's a classic Somerset term. She massive. Talking about tractor.
Slaps the roof of the dark web. This bad boy can fit so much drugs in
Somerset
it.
unit of measurement is girt.
Gert.
Yeah.
And if it's Gert Lush.
That's big.
I don't think the deep web is Gert Lush
No.
in any way, shape, or form.
No, you can probably buy something called Gert Lush on the dark web. I don't know what it'd be when it arrives, but
I bet it's funky.
it'd be super funky. So yeah, dark web, absolutely massive. I mean, there's nothing I can think of that I couldn't find on the surface web. So for it to be 400 to 500 times larger, either that's a lot of layers of stuff or just a massive over-exaggerated portfolio of stuff you don't even want to look at.
Yeah.
So like I said, obvious things like drugs and weapons are a given. Now, I've got a list of a couple of things that are more on the surprising side of stuff you can get on there on the dark web.
Okay.
The list I went through, I'm definitely not going to read most of those out because they are pretty bad. But one I thought was quite interesting that came up quite a lot. The Cannibal Cafe.
Oh, I've heard of this.
What the fudge?
I've heard of this.
Yeah, so this is pretty bad. The Cannibal Cafe, as the name suggests, the Cannibal Cafe is a website that is devoted to people who want to eat other people, as well as people who want to be eaten.
Yeah. You like sign up, like it's like Craigslist, but you can put yourself up to be bought.
I just read a comic that's really interesting, completely unrelated apart from the cannibal thing, where it's Wolverine in the future gets held by a load of cannibals and kept for like weeks on end because they can just keep eating him and he just regenerates.
Oh shit!
That's like
Dead Man Logan, the comic's called.
that's like the story. I wouldn't be surprised if it got from like the story of Prometheus, where he's chained to a rock and then a vulture comes every day and eats his liver, and then he like heals.
Could be.
And it just keeps coming back every day to eat his liver. Yeah, pretty dark.
So yeah, that was a pretty freaky one.
Yeah.
The others, there was a whole load of others that are a lot worse than that, but we'll skip over those. So next fact.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Can you hint at like what the worst thing you saw was?
Yeah.
Maybe don't read it
if it's got like triggering things, but
I
like
won't. Okay, so
sidle round.
there was
Obviously
a website,
there's gonna be.
Okay, this isn't as bad. So there's a website called.
Explain it, but replace the bad thing with something funny.
Like penguin.
Dildo.
Yeah. Replace whatever.
Penguin dildo.
Penguin dildo.
So there's one called Cruel Onion Wiki. So that's the Cruel Onion Wiki is a place where I think it's going to be like a fetish website, right? But it's a very specific and niche fetish where there are videos of
Onions.
scantily clad onions who are filmed. They're filmed killing other plants in the garden.
Okay, and are these plants of the same subspecies, or are they
A lower, more fluffy subspecies.
Yes, I've heard of this one as well. Yes.
Jed, let's go.
Why did I pick this episode to come back on?
I actually was like quite interested in the Onion Wiki.
Because I thought it might have been like the Onion guy from Parappa the Rapper.
Oh, well, I thought the Onion was the satire website.
Oh.
It's like Cruel Intentions, but Cruel Onions.
Okay, so what we're getting at there, none of us want to
None of us want to go too deep
Yeah.
into that, and I went. This was on my lunch break. Bear in mind when I had to go back into a meeting afterwards, and my mind was racing with all sorts of this really weird shit that was going
Yeah.
on.
I did wonder if you'd like maybe got Tor and actually gone in,
Oh God, no.
gone in to see what was going on, and
No.
be like, "Hello, I've come to do some
You were like that gif of the granddad from The Simpsons where he walks in, hangs
Yeah.
up his coat, and then
Yeah.
just walks straight back out again.
What are you doing? Crying on the kitchen floor? Mind if I join you? Classic.
I mean, not
grandpa.
only will I have a clue what I'm doing, but I don't think I've got the stomach for a lot of the stuff that would appear on there.
No, I knew someone at university who did a lot of drugs.
This classic story. I
And-
knew someone.
Yeah.
I knew
friend
someone
told
once.
And I actually saw what you would guess you would call the Silk Road. Like I saw like the layout. It's all very like it looks like the internet, but really early internet where everything is sort like nothing has like the nice glossy modern sheen to it. It's all very like code just smashed together. Like
did it have like gifs with glitter?
No, although that would have been cool. Most of it was just like
Winnie the Pooh.
just glittery Winnie the Pooh with the like blowing
It was like
kiss.
it was like Microsoft Word art. It's like rainbow effect.
I always imagine that was what it's like, because
Yeah.
that's what 8chan and 4chan are like,
Yeah.
and I think it's specifically to, I don't know what it's why. I guess it's just to keep. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I have a lot of theories in my head as to why it all looks like that,
Yeah.
and I think most of it is just to keep the bandwidth down.
Yeah.
If it's that, if there's that,
And
much
It's that large
information.
as well.
And most of it, like, yeah, so it's like that, and like everything is like very in depth to give them, like, so like it'll be like, you know, this is the specific drug, like this is the specific like feeling you'll get with this drug. Like it's all very like professional and very cold, and like I said, just like very slammed together. The pictures are like just a really horrible blurry picture of like a bag of like brown powder in it or something like that, or like the tab or something. It's like very unfancy, like very deconstructed. But yeah, it's it works because he got stuff from there, so it's not a trick. It's real.
It's real. It's probably a very scary place as well.
Yeah.
It's damn real.
So the next fact then is sort of a trail off of a similar rabbit hole. It's a phenomenon that appeared on the internet a few years ago. Let me know if anyone's heard of it. So Cicada 3301.
Yes, I've heard of this one as well.
So this is sort of a phenomenon that's come about when the generations that are so savvy on the internet now and so savvy with technology, this is sort of a test for those sort of people. Now the purpose behind it, no one really knows, but Cicada 3301 it's a group that hosts an annual internet-based puzzle that involves mystery telephone numbers, voice messages, GPS coordinates. And parts of it require people to dip into the dark web as well to find stuff. But essentially, no one knows what it's for. But it's theorized that it's a group of an organization looking for highly intelligent individuals to recruit them for something.
Yeah, kind of like show with Rami Malek in it. F Society sort of.
It's a robot.
Yeah.
Sounds a little Saw-like as well, like almost like they're putting people through tests to see if they can pass a society test or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no like physical stuff. I mean, I imagine the people who do this can do it all from the computer in their bedroom. The first puzzle started in 2012 on 4chan, of all places.
Classic.
And it took users a month to solve. Now, this isn't like it's a forum post that hundreds of people did and they passed it. No, allegedly there was one or two people that were able to complete the entire trail. It would be so the first message that was posted on 4chan was a picture that looked like this. So for the listeners at home, it's a image of a cicada, but it's made in green, sort of like Matrix style
Like
numbers and
codes,
letters
yeah.
in code.
It looks like a butterfly.
You could argue it's a butterfly, but I think you'll have failed the test already there. So that was posted, and the message went like this: we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find to find them, we have devised a test. There's a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck.
Yeah.
So then it takes them, if they find the message in that, it will take them to maybe coordinates that you can search on Google Maps. If you zoom in far enough, there'll be a poster in the corner of a shop window that has the next clue on it. But all these clues are watermarks in a very clever way, so that if you knew what you're looking for, you'd know it was the official clue. But some of these images, like on Google Maps, are from years ago as well. So it's all super crazy stuff. Could just be a massive hoax. Could be someone clever putting random clues together to entertain the internet. But either way, there's a lot of people who dedicate a lot of time to get these completed.
Yeah.
But we never really know what happens to them.
I think I read something about it that said that like if you get past a certain level, you're not allowed to like tell anyone, or you're like instantly like knocked out of the game. Like you're basically like made to be secret about it, because otherwise you can't partake in it anymore.
I'm on the dark web.
Are you actually?
Yeah, Experian told me. It's a bit scary.
Really?
Yeah, they do like a thing where they've got like some kind of algorithm that searches the dark web for your details.
The dark web for?
Someone just sold my information.
Why does that company do it?
Because they're all about data and information, aren't they? Experian, essentially, whilst they do the credit check is compiled of a lot of data, personal data.
Why would someone have your data on the dark web?
I'm not particularly good at keeping my data secret.
No, but like, why
it's
would
like
they
entering
want...
it into a website that you think is just going to...
Yeah.
Say, for instance, I've logged into something that I think is just... I'm trying to think of an example. I'm thinking surveys at the moment, because I signed up to one of those survey sites. And I signed into it at the time, and I was like, this is stupid. So I gave an email that I never ever use. And that email started getting like absolutely crazy amounts of spam. So say for instance it's just something that you sign up to like that, and then, or even fucking Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, they could have sold, you never know, like all these companies could have sold it at some point, and that's why Experian are in charge of it, because they're a massively recognized body that can be trusted. So like if someone has been selling data, you can just go, right, this is it. I don't actually know, they told me. And I was like, so what do I do now? And he was like, nothing.
What about
I
you?
guess
Well,
I was supposed to change it.
They give
I
you
guess.
like a torch, and they just lead you off into the, like a torch you take into a cave type thing. I'm imagining, and they're just like, you have to go to the dark web now and retrieve your
like Orpheus in the underworld.
retrieve your name. This is all new. This is all kind of like new information to me. Like, kind of aware of the dark web, but other than being told there's like some dodgy stuff on there, don't really know anything about it. So I'm learning a lot of stuff here.
Well, I think it's also that like your brain, like you can't imagine the size of the internet, and then you can't. So in like trying to imagine something below that, like layers of hell, like you can't like possibly imagine. Like if there's so much on the internet on the surface level, like you can't possibly imagine what's lying beneath that, which is scary.
The one you were just talking about, where they search for, they find the meaning of the clue, then they search on Google Maps, etc., do all that. Sound like it would be like a good marketing strategy to promote like a television show or a movie or something.
Yeah.
If they did something like that, because people would get such a following in trying to figure out what it was, and then it would take you to like a trailer or something, or you find out it's just promoting.
That'll totally be the next Black Mirror episode once they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure they'd probably do, to be fair.
Charlie Brooker keeps ringing me up, and I'm like, no, mate, I do not condone you using any of our ideas.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of your show. I'm not a fan of you. And I think you just need to stop calling me. It's been 3 years.
And he already stole one of our references for one of his episodes, didn't he? Because we used to mention Calf Hunt a lot, and he heard that, and then he came up with Bandersnatch, and he was like, he just said something about it. Just the two just rung in his head, and he just came up with the title for that.
Yeah, so. He was like just instant connection.
He was trying to be clever though, and I get like when he rang last night again, I was just like, we know. We know that was the reference. Charles.
You don't need to explain it to us that it's a bandicoot's vagina. We know. Yeah.
And we're not even going to press charges. You know, we're not like that over here.
Yeah.
We're just chill. You know what?
Yeah.
Give us 50% of the revenue. It's cool. It's chill. We'll take it.
Charlie Brooker would be loving this type of stuff, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's like, I can imagine, like, he's the kind of person, like, he's like deep edgy, but not just like when you're talking about it and you're like, oh, that's really like interesting and deep. He's like, but guys, the Instagram, but likes and societal wealth, and like everyone's just sat around the board table like, fucking hell.
He probably dives really into it. Like I could probably agree, like, on such a surface level, but he's probably so into it about like how everything is controlled and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of the episodes that he does, I haven't seen very many Bandersnatch, whatever. What's the whole show called?
Black
Mirror.
That's it, yeah. I haven't seen many, but I know the premise of it.
I think it's, for me, more annoying because it's like it used to be like a very quintessentially British science fiction show that was very diverse and like what didn't just focus on like phone technology, because Black Mirror comes from like Black Mirror, like a phone screen, but it's like,
oh snap,
yeah, but it's gotten a bit like phone bad, and it's like,
Wait a second though. Didn't Black Mirror start years ago? Wasn't the first series, like, wasn't that released years ago?
2000. It was just before David Cameron's turn in.
Oh, I thought it was even longer than that for some reason.
The first episode would suggest that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that's like, it was like everyone was freaking out because the first episode of Black Mirror is about a prime minister who fucks pig, and then everyone was like,
Hang on,
David Cameron.
Oh, yeah, it was 2011. For some reason, I thought maybe he'd done like a load of. Maybe I'm thinking of something else that had been done like a lot earlier.
but yeah, it's just a bit too like fake woke deep for me. Like, we all know the world's being controlled by bad people and phones and social media. Like, we see it every day. We're controlled by it every day. We're touched by it every day. We don't need an episode with like really surface level metaphors.
We got it the first time.
Yeah.
It was Brass Eye that I was thinking of. That was like a satirical news broadcasting thing.
Yeah.
Like, but kind of in the same style as Black Mirror, but like fake news. But he also, I didn't realise, he also wrote a really good miniseries called Dead Set, which was during the height of Big Brother, but it was based on Big Brother, but zombies had taken over, but they didn't know
That was
inside.
really cool.
Yeah, it was
really cool,
really good.
Yeah.
So they're just like inside, like, what's
Yeah.
happening?
They don't know, like, they've been abandoned and they don't know why, and then the zombies start to try get into the compound.
Was it a one-time show or was it a series?
No, it was a miniseries.
Oh.
I think it was a miniseries anyway.
Oh, yeah, I can't quite remember. It's really cool though.
Scary.
5 episodes. Yeah.
I'd always love that. I would always love that to happen to Love Island. That'd be amazing. Surprise episode but the sort of Darren Brown thing where they pretend they're a zombie. Everyone think zombies have attacked them.
That would be
But the best title for it's already gone, because it would be called Dead Island. And they did a computer game based on it.
Can you imagine just like a bunch of like tanned sort of Geordie-ish people just like
Racist. Or regionist, at least.
laying around on a beach, and then like what would be best if they just dropped one zombie onto the island and then see how long it takes before like they
realise it's not just one of the contestants.
Oi.
I didn't drop it, I threw it on the floor.
Gaz he's turned into a zombie. He's just making a lot of weird noises, not really saying anything.
That's it for Brass Facts.
Oh, great ending.
I like the ending. I like the ending. And to be fair, that'd be pretty good, because they probably wouldn't, like you said, wouldn't even realise that it was a zombie on the island with them. And speaking of zombies, top 10.
Seamless.
Amazing.
Right, so I'll put it to you guys. Which one would you rather hear? The top 10 best electronic devices from thetop10.com, or how much did Old Tech cost when it was out, and how much would it cost now based on inflation?
Ooh, what do you reckon?
I hate inflation because I can never figure it out. Like, I don't.
I was gonna say, I was like,
I hate inflation. It keeps blowing my mind. Like, I don't know, like something was going to be. There was going to be a punchline in there.
you're the joke now,
I can't.
Jed.
Everything I say now sounds like a setup.
You're
Yeah.
like the.
To be fair,
joker.
I did say to my Siri the other day, I said, "Oh, surely it's not going to rain on Thursday," and she said, "It is going to rain, and stop calling me Shirley." And it turns out I'd left my phone on airplane mode.
That's a good one. Ollie's not seen Airplane.
Fuck.
Wait, did I show you her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Yeah.
Ollie's definitely seen it. She loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, I've got myself into such a corner that everyone's just waiting for the next thing for me to say.
You were like talking like had a really terrible day today.
Depressing.
Oh,
Here it comes. Look at this. Watch this.
my boss at work, he's in a car accident. He's quadriplegic, and then it's just end.
I do want
And
to film.
everyone's like-
I do want to film a skit where it's me and I'm stood up and I throw a toaster in the bath. And nothing happens, and the toaster breaks, and a bit of toast comes out.
What, like whilst you're in the bath, just like
and I just start, and just a little bit of
Had
toast
enough.
just pops out.
It'd be really funny if it either there's two ways it could go. Either the toast actually pops out, or it just slowly floats out.
And I'm just like, now I got to get a new toaster.
What about this one, right? So that happens. It slowly floats out, and then you're like, "Fuck!" And someone comes in. "You're right, Jed." He's like, "Yeah, it's just not toasted enough."
Yeah, maybe we got to start this new series.
New series.
Top 10. Top 10.
Top 10 zombies.
Top 10 zombies.
Top 10 pop
Top
culture
10 zombie
zombies.
technology.
Top 10 things that zombies have in their pockets.
Those wacky zombies.
So yeah, votes. Best or how much?
Best, I vote.
What?
Yeah,
What
and
was
a
it?
total not set up to any sort of punchline. I actually am not very good at being able to figure out inflation prices from things years ago. So when they're like, "Oh, it would be worth such and such nowadays," it's kind of just like, "Yeah, but it's confusing to
Okay.
know."
The other thing that's
Just
confusing
do-
about this list is good. It's interesting as hell, but some of the technologies from like 1979, so the difference is astronomical.
Wow.
Some of the stuff from like 2004, so the difference isn't actually that much.
If you do best, then
Okay. There are some in here that, but bearing in mind we've used the top 10s a lot and they do throw up some crazy shit. And I'll skip over the ones that I don't think that are that relevant. So number 10, Xbox 360. Doesn't seem that relevant, but the Xbox 360 was kind of lauded pretty highly. Number 9 is the iPad. And remember I used to read out the hilarious comments. The first two are, "I can't survive without mine." The next one says, "I can't live without mine." So that's the iPad. That's Apple's new advertising slogan. Apple, you won't be able
Jobs!
to live without yours.
give it up for Steve Jobs. He's here in the office
Give it up
today.
for Steve Jobs.
Oh, wait, hang on. Number 3. The amount of things iPads can do is just incredible. I couldn't live without mine.
Oh man.
Is iPhone on the list?
Yes, it is.
Sorry.
But this number, going on to number 8, you would never, ever have seen this come in. And I really don't think it fits into the technology bracket, but oven.
But like a proper, like 70s oven.
That's the Oven 7.
Do you know? And to be fair, this is an invention on top of an invention. Because once upon a time, someone obviously invented the oven, but then someone also must have invented an oven mitt. And whoever came up with that idea was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fucking fed up
They
again.
like went to get out like a casserole with their like bare hand.
Fucking Terry!
Fuck!
Terry, your fucking tea towel! Just burning their fingers.
It's such a stupid concept, though, to have it on this list, because it's been around since pretty much fire. And they just would have built a hole,
Yeah.
put the fire in the
Yeah.
hole, and put the food on top of the hole, and it would have warmed up.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's only been a few years later that we plugged it in. It was
But
off gas before that.
I
That's not
guess
technology.
the
is it?
best technology, like, is the technology that changes the course of history.
That's
And
very
and
profound.
it was more convenient to use in a home because you didn't
Yeah.
have to put a fire. We used to wear like oven mitt on our head when we were young and pretend we were a judge from court, and then we'd be like, "I am the judge."
What
I
kind
am
of
the
oven
judge."
mitt did you have?
Everybody knows that I am the judge. It was one that was made out of a judge's wig.
It was actually just.
Right, so it was a judge's
Oh,
wig.
shit, judge's wig.
It doubled up as
You
an
know,
oven
like
mitt.
that's just like a standard oven mitt, isn't it? The white one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
stiff, really stiff always.
Yeah.
You can never really grab much with it. Yeah.
This one, though, despite being not particularly relevant, has actually given me one of my favourite top 10's comments ever. Great for making butter chicken with my Indian bestie.
That's important.
But why is it like? Why can't she make butter chicken by herself? Why does it have to be and her Indian bestie?
And she's just friends only Indian because he was hoping there was more.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I go around every day, make butter chicken.
I'm gonna cut this.
You can't cut that out. That's just that is not racist. That's accurate.
Like, right, number 7 is not is relevant and it is technology. It's just a very out of left field.
Okay.
PSP.
Yeah, I've seen that on a few lists, and but PSP's kind of died a death, hasn't
It
it?
died a death.
Yeah.
I get it to a certain extent. I had one, and when I first got it, I was like, "This is a generation changer." Like, it was a device that you could play games, browse the internet,
Message.
watch films, message. It was like, and it was before the iPhone as well, and so it kind of had all that. But and also the films were really good. You know, they came on disc. They were really good.
They're
quality.
mini discs, weren't they? Like
yeah,
that.
essentially, yeah. UMDs they called them.
Ooh, UMDs.
And the games were great and everything, but like something about it just never really worked.
I think it was like kind of it was too soon because obviously now iPhones, iPads, whatever, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Nintendo Switch is now marketed as the look, grab it and go on the go, play your games. You got a screen,
Yeah.
but PSP was doing all that stuff.
I think whilst the Game Boy is lauded like highly as the game changer, I think PSP in the future might be looked back on a lot more favourably than it was at the time. Number 6 is the Kindle. It's actually specifically the Kindle Fire, but I think it's people just upvoting it because it's the Kindle.
yeah.
And I personally, for a long time, wasn't a fan, but I see now, having read on my iPad, which I couldn't live without, to be honest.
Oh, he did the thing.
Reference.
I get it a lot. I definitely get it. It's you can carry around an entire library
Yeah.
in your hand.
yeah, and you don't have to crumple the pages or whatever.
and
But it's
you-
obviously it's the physical aesthetic of a book.
But like, yeah, that's the only thing, isn't it? It's like sometimes it feels just really nice to just hold a book and like see the pages like go from like you've got lots to go till you only have like quarter of the book to go, and like
Yeah, go from a clean, crisp white to a sweaty, slightly damp mess where you've
I didn't
Yeah.
get out,
fingered
like,
through them.
yeah, it's pretty much an entire library, isn't it, on there? It's
I
got
rem-
like every single genre or whatever.
I
yeah,
remember my first encounter with someone who pretty much had his Kindle in his hand like nearly every time I saw him. He was a barman, but like when on his break he would be out in the smoking area, be smoking and reading at the same time, and I'd be like, people would come and talk to him, and he'd be like,
I'm reading.
I'm reading. And
Back
I
off.
spoke to him one time when they kind of put it down. I was like, well, so what? Tell me why I should be having one of these, because I read a lot. Why should I have it? And he was like, I can't sell you on it. All I can tell you is I don't pay for my books. He was just torrenting all of his books.
Yeah,
And I was like,
Oh boy. And that guy?
Steve Jobs.
on a Kindle.
He was just torrenting everything.
Traitor!
Oh
He was
dear.
just working in some Yeovil bar, smoking out the bag.
And that's why he died, because he couldn't live with what he'd done.
Yeah,
Or his iPad.
you couldn't.
Kindle Fire comment. They are so useful. R is spelled R. Number 5, Nintendo Wii. Like I said, I'll try and
Nintendo
breeze.
Wii
Oh,
was the
hella
one that-
good.
yeah.
I'll try and breeze past the consoles a little bit, but I don't think anyone can really deny the way that
No.
it affected the games industry and the impact it had on the games industry. Really, the technology industry, because of the
Yeah.
the move control.
I think
the
it was
movement.
Yeah.
probably the first step in like virtual reality where you don't
Yeah,
just have
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
absolutely.
handheld like it's
And
like
it was like get off your and go on your feet and
yeah
and use the
and
Wii.
you could weigh yourself, and every time I weighed myself it said I was obese.
Oh,
yeah, so I don't know. I think
what was that? The board was that a Wii? Was it
Yeah.
called
It's
the
the
Wii
Wii
Fit?
Fit.
we
That's it.
fit.
It's also the first one that was sort of like families
Yeah.
as a whole understood gaming.
Because
It's like,
grandma could
oh,
play
exactly.
and all that stuff.
this
and-
is fun. We can all do it.
yeah.
I've got a Wii somewhere, don't I?
No, I think you. I
Yeah,
think
no, you got it downstairs. You got a red one or something.
no, like your
Well, that's a Switch.
We Fit.
Ah.
I think it's either up in the attic or
Traded it.
I
in.
don't think it was yours.
No, it was my mum's, but
Oh, was it your mum's?
yeah, if I've got it, we'll have to break out Wii Sports at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Wii was a game changer, and I think the biggest thing that will always be remembered is it just opened the generational gap, like the generational door swung all the way open to people who, you know, Granny's playing bowling. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that! Oh, she's thrown the controller through the TV.
and the tune is now like in legend status. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun,
Yes.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
Dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets used on Vines and TikTok and everything, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
reached meme.
It reached
It
meme,
reached
which
meme.
once
Yeah.
you've reached meme,
It reached me. Michael.
Are you okay?
Oh no, like the character, the little characters.
Oh, like the
MII.
me's.
Yeah.
I did think she was having a
Wow.
That was good. That was
You know what? Whenever I tell a joke, but Jed tells it.
But Jed's even not telling a joke.
Everyone just laughed at me anyway.
Oh.
No, I did think that's what you were going for, but I didn't.
Yeah, don't lie. You don't have to lie.
from a visual point of view of both me and Luke, it was you were just staring dead at Luke,
Me.
Jed just going
Meme, meme.
me.
I thought it was in reference to TikTok or a Vine that I don't know. That's why I thought, because you know a lot more than me.
I'm just like speaking Vines on the daily.
Yes.
Is that what
Yeah.
you see?
You communicate in Vines.
Yeah.
But that was the other good thing about the Wii, was that we had a whole load of fail videos of people like twatting their dogs in the face or their children in the face while trying to hit a tennis ball with a remote
Yeah.
control. Oh, good times.
So number 4 is a bit like ovens, but a little bit more relevant. So number 4 is cameras.
Yeah, but you can't cook butter chicken on the camera.
You can't, not with your
That's
Indian
right,
bestie.
yeah.
This is not going to work. This is a camera. But the but
Just keep taking a picture of it until it like heats up
yeah. Oh, could you do that?
with the flash on.
Yeah, with the flash on. Could you cook a chicken with just the flash?
That's coming up soon on the Pretty Random YouTube channel.
Pretty random Mythbusters.
Coming soon to the year 3000 when we finish the experiment. 2050, the skin has gone a little less pink.
Is this digital cameras or
It just says cameras.
wind on with the actual film?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it does encompass all cameras, but I think really like the people that vote on these are thinking the ones that are in your phone,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the ones
The
that,
most convenient day-to-day
Yeah.
ones. Because years back, obviously, they had to set up a camera on like a fucking tripod, put like a black sheet over it. The whole family had to stand still for like 3 weeks, and then it flash bulb went off. Used once, the bulb's done.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, at that time, I think the technology was amazing to be able to capture really old black and white
Like
photographs.
the fact that you can even capture an image.
A
Yeah,
moment in time and
Is
space forever.
crazy.
finding really old photographs that my grandparents have got, like really old black and white ones, and
Yeah.
it's like them when they were younger or like their parents, and it's good. It's nice to see that they've been able to capture something at that time. I think it gets
Yeah.
taken for granted how easily we can take photos now,
Yeah.
because it's like, here's a photo of your great grandma, and then in 60 years we'll be like, oh yeah, here's like 600 photos of your great grandma with a fucking dog tongue on. And, like, it's just like I think how easily you can
Yeah. Just
on your camera roll
instant.
doesn't. I think it takes away the specialness of a photo.
Yeah.
I think as well the biggest thing, that the difference between the generational shift in cameras and picture taking and the method in which you do it is that downstairs underneath the stairs actually there's a shoebox full of about 15 to 20 years of my life and my family's life. People discard the devices that contain those shoeboxes now. Like
Yeah.
nobody, I can't see people in like 20, 30 years oh, I'm just going to get my shoebox out and pull out like a box full of USB sticks and then go through
Yeah.
trying to find which one now actually works because it's all USB-C and like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can store it all online digitally and like you got Snapchat, you got Instagram and everything, but those aren't those photos that were in shoeboxes because those are stand still. I need to take 20 of these. You only had 24 chances on these ones, so everyone was a fucking
I've looked
precious
through
moment
some,
in time.
Some holiday ones before from when we were all kids, me and my brothers and sister, and there's like ones of the beach and all that stuff, like yada yada, and then there's one of like my dad's thumb on the lens, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
classic, there's
Yeah.
a thumb, because you didn't know.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
know until it's developed.
Till it was
yeah.
developed.
Yeah, there's a photo I've got somewhere of me, which is like an OG selfie. I was probably about 5 or 6, and it's just basically the camera up against my face. My face is bright white, and all you can see is like these piercing blue eyes, like staring into the lens. And it's like
That was like the ultimate prank as a kid,
I
wasn't it?
mean-
To sneak one on the wind on.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
had a little counter on the top, like how many were left, I remember.
An example of like
Exactly, look, that's-
Oh.
In the
so
actual room right now.
Holly's holding up a picture of her, basically a collage of her life, and they're
Yeah.
all
Real
they're all going to be real
photographs.
photos.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
not going to be any digital
No,
ones on there, is
That's
there?
my granddad having a cigarette right next to my face.
And
Oh, yeah.
none of them have a thin strip of text overlaid that says something like YOLO or
Yeah, just like a
feeling cute
dog
might delete
face on my
later.
mum's
Yeah.
face.
And there's no like kind of perfect face filter or
Yeah.
big eye kind of things.
Like Disney princess eyes. And
I
all
like
that
this
stuff.
one. This one's the most pure because it's actually gone yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they used to go that strange colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when it's a vintage photograph. But I think that so far on the list, even I don't know, they're hard to compare against each other because obviously an oven cooks food that helps you eat and live and is so used in everyday life. But a camera in terms of the development and like a camera over time from what it used to be, literally the one on a tripod and take a picture and it takes 3 weeks and all that stuff, and then to now is amazing if you wrap your head around it, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think that's a pretty big one.
I think there's elements to a lot of things. Like humans could exist without ovens. Humans could exist without cameras, but ovens have helped develop more healthy lifestyles through the way that you can cook food and such. And then cameras have led to medical advances.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
there's uses
like,
of
if you-
cameras like that. Yeah.
You think like cameras just didn't stop and end at like the selfie on Instagram. Like every
How
time,
dare you?
every time camera technology advances, we have advances in like, you know, like medical scanning, like pictures that you're taking of the inside of people's bodies that can
Fucking planets that are millions of light years away.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you have the cameras where you can like it's zoomed out and you can zoom in with like incredible clarity and like, you know, like camera technology is, I think, something very underappreciated.
It's just so become part of everyday life
Yeah.
that it sometimes you just stop, take a little while to think about it, and then your mind just goes whoa, and then it's hard to wrap your head around. But
Yeah.
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 And then you just go back to taking your video with like loads
Yeah.
of like movements
sending
and
girl on Tinder a dick pic and being like, technology's come far. This is
even
what
gone-
they intended it for.
It's
Yeah.
even gone the other way from like when, like you said, when you only had 20 odd opportunities to take a photo on a camera, you would choose the moments that matter to that picture.
Yeah.
Whereas now, when some people are doing something special nowadays, they go to a concert or something,
It's on
they
phone.
watch the entire thing through their phone
Yeah.
Yeah.
to make sure it all ends up on Snapchat.
I've genuinely got nothing against someone capturing a moment in time at a concert or whatever, of just to like be able to go on those moments where you're like, oh, and this is when I was here, and like, you know, oh, how cool would this be of a feature, right? So the iPhone has a thing. I'm going to an event, set camera limit to 24.
Yeah, then that would be good, wouldn't it? And then literally it's like
No deleting.
Wow.
Yeah, no deleting, because then it's like an old school. We need to cut this out because this isn't that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
could actually be a moneymaker here.
Yeah, right, everyone.
Because I actually think this is what
And
I think it's what Snapchat was going for.
Yeah,
but
I think
they
it was
went the
intending
wrong
for it,
way.
and then everyone was just like, "Here's my ass." But it's like, yeah, and it could be called moments that matter. You said that. You coined that phrase. This is all being cut out because this could be marketable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cameras. Number 3 is it's super broad, but I think we all know what it means. Laptops/computers.
Yeah. They are.
That's the real game changer.
Yeah.
Like without the technology of laptops and computers, the world would be an incredibly different place.
Yeah,
right
we'd
now.
all
A
still be on
much
magazines.
more ignorant place, and like my Gothic lecturer the other day actually gave us like a a little rant about how lucky we were to have like the wealth of knowledge we have just at our fingertips. He was like, back in my day I had to go to the library,
Chisel it into a big piece of slate like Fred Flintstone in the
But-
Flintstone movie.
Counterpoint though, I think it's actually made people more ignorant. I think computers have made people more ignorant.
do you think?
I think the ability to rely on something at their fingers instead of having to go and learn. I was talking about this with the libraries. Like I was reading a book talking about the importance of libraries, how they're kind of dying out. The importance of libraries is for children to go and be surrounded by education, learning, literature, and to be encouraged.
Also,
that doesn't happen on the internet.
It's diverse, right? So like when you go into a library, you have books about loads of things, and you don't know what, like, I mean, like most children wouldn't know where like everything is. They just sort of wander and like pull books out the shelves and like read blurbs. On the internet, everything is specifically designed to show you what they think you want to see. So unless you go wandering on the internet, you're not gonna see much else out of like what the internet thinks you want to see.
Yeah, and I think if you go to, so if you take the computer, if you go to the computer, the first thing you're going to do is probably not something in educational or important. The first thing you do when you go to a library, you can't do anything else in the library except for gain knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because Google has a search bar, so at that point you're already narrowing your search field. It's not like
Yeah.
an open library, not like an open shelf of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I think
there's-
that without computers, whatever, like with using computers now, obviously computers is so massive of a topic for us to even dive into. But generations before us got to where we are without computers.
Yeah.
And but the generations that today's generation wouldn't be able to get to where we are now without computers because of how
Yeah, the
yeah.
reliance.
because of the reliance on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that thing that I said. I forget what it's called, but it's like the second. It's something called the second memory, where previously in previous generations, I can't remember what this is. John, what was it? And John says it was this, and that's your second memory. Now your second memory is in the palm of your hands. Like I can't remember what this is. Search, 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 and you lose that interconnected, non-internet web that existed within people. So the World Wide Web became our interconnected people web, whereas before it was I need to call so and so. I can't remember what that was. Phone a friend shouldn't really fucking exist anymore. Who wants to be a millionaire? It should be
Google.
or WhatsApp a friend, or you know, like those kind of things. Like the phone a friend thing is the second memory
because we're
still,
sharing
like,
our knowledge with each other. Yeah.
yeah, and like whilst we're still sharing the knowledge through the internet, you actually lose the interpersonal element of it, and that actually breaks down the human aspect of knowledge, and it starts to become probably against our favour more artificial intelligence based, because you're essentially going to an artificial intelligence machine for that artificial intelligence machine to answer your question.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess you could argue, like, well, like, social, like, you know, like, they wouldn't give people a platform for, like, social stuff, like, you know, like, social justice stuff that is happening in the world. But then, like, people still got, like, the civil rights movement still happened, internet or no, like, there was still the people there to make it happen, and, like, one could maybe posit that the internet actually just creates a space for more backlash and for more backpush and for people to educate people wrongly, and so then there's more people against than for.
Yeah, because it can come down to like what even becomes a joke statement, but then again nobody does anything about it, where it's like, oh yeah, that must be true, I read it on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, but
Yeah.
also no, because is anyone really verifying this? But it's on there, so it must be true, right?
It's like that kind of statement, or that kind of throwaway statement was funny before it became true.
Yeah.
Like-
And now it's like scary.
Yeah, and obviously we're just looking at the different side of the coin, because they are on the other side, like such a large topic to go into. An incredible piece of technology, but it's interesting to look at it in terms of how it's can be looked at in terms of maybe how it's changed society.
Yeah.
Yeah, I going back to my point of saying that I think it's made people more ignorant. I don't want that to be taken as my general view of computers, because I think my life has been a lot different. I won't say better, because I don't know what it would have been, but I've enjoyed a hell of a lot more than I
Yeah,
haven't
exactly.
enjoyed
Yeah, so
out of
that's what I mean. Like,
So-
don't get anyone wrong. We're just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many cat
But
videos.
on with the list.
Although I just say just one of the comments that kind of validates what we've just talked about. So the top voted comment, I didn't actually realize until I was looking at this that these comments are voted. So the first one I read is people's number one choice. Computers are definitely best. So many thing you can do with them. Play games. Now this is the important bit, right? So this person is listing the first things that come into their head. Play games, call people, because those two things didn't exist before.
Yeah.
Watch TV also didn't exist.
Brand new.
Take photos.
Ah.
But I don't think you can do that on a computer.
Just
really.
holding like a
whole
whole fucking
taking like a whole PC
Like
round.
you don't have a computer, you don't have an actual camera, but you got a little built-in webcam. So you
Yeah.
just take the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing
right.
around.
It's like the next escalation of people taking iPads to festivals, and most importantly, of course, that's why you wrote it last. Surf the web, but like. I'm biased, and it's probably based on what we just talked about. But I don't think that surf the web is find out knowledge.
Yeah.
I think it's cat pictures.
I don't.
Browse Reddit.
Yeah,
I don't like. I never just go on Google like. I might learn something new. Just look up. I never look up a random topic.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely
it's-
should. There's a random button on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
should
you
do
should-
I should
It's
definitely
really
do
good.
it.
The does anyone remember like early days of the internet? So probably talking like I don't know. Obviously, the internet's been around for years, but early days that I can remember. So like early 2000s and stuff, where like in textbooks at school it would be like surf the web, and there'd be a picture of a guy on a
Yeah.
surf,
Cell phone.
and he'd be like surfing an actual like internet like digital surf, and it'd be like, whoa, look how cool this internet is, funky.
Yeah.
Surf the web.
Oh.
Yeah.
I am actually like from like I remember like my first year of uni. I was like, "Puh, I'm not going to the library. All my journal articles I need are on the internet." And I've actually found that last year I started using the library a lot more to do my research, and my grades actually like went up on the pieces where I used book
That's because they
research.
could tell what you were citing, and they'd seen the extra
Yeah. The
extra
work.
stuff you could
I've been tempted recently to just go there, just to rediscover being in that environment.
It's beautiful.
And I
like-
think people hide drugs in some books if you know the right ones to get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so me and you can go if you want.
Always
Yeah.
go to the 69th row.
Got to be Dr. Zeus.
Yeah. Green eggs and ham.
Well, I found a little piece of paper.
Yeah.
Tastes like dragons.
Yeah. Libraries are beautiful things.
So number 2, I think, is interesting. The most interesting one because it encompasses nearly everything apart from the oven that we just talked about.
It's yet.
Yeah, exactly. So number 2 is the iPhone. I think it's odd because it should just be smartphone. We know it should be smartphone. We also know that iPhone is best, but oh god, oh my god, Samsung, Android. But yeah, so I think everything we just talked about is probably relevant coming down to what to the iPhone, and the iPhone is like the Wii to a certain extent. Computers existed, phones existed, smartphones existed. I had a smartphone in 2004, I think my first smartphone was, but like just for the time difference.
iPhone 0. Yeah.
And the iPhone came out in 2008, and my first one was like a Windows phone. But then it wasn't till that particular thing, iPhone or Wii, like or PSP, that it
Change the
went
game.
through the roof. Like like you can do something, everyone can do something, but it takes the person who perfects it or makes it the best or mass markets the best before it becomes essential. And the iPhone made it doesn't matter how Samsung competes, and the argument between iPhone and Android doesn't matter. The iPhone did it. The iPhone broke the mold,
Yeah.
or created the mold. No, that actually
It
broke
broke
the
a
mold.
mold, created a new
yeah,
one.
it broke it and created it, and just went. And this is how we do it, and it's the best iPhone yet. That's what, like that's the that's the thing that it says, and you can't, no matter how much you argue the difference between the two. iPhone just did it well, and then it forced the other companies to go. We got to do this now.
We'll do
like
that
this,
stuff
we got to
too.
do this as
Yeah,
well.
because anything that the other manufacturers have subsequently done, and in some minds done better, they've only done because of Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, You've got to give credit to them.
Well, I love like the iPhone is like you have like ergonomic controllers for your hands that like sit so right in your hand. The iPhone is like ergonomic for your brain and like the way it works. Like
I'd love hearing that. Steve Jobs would be jacking off in his grave.
Ergonomic for your brain.
Oh my god, why didn't I think of that?
Like it just like like everything like. When I got my first iPhone, it was like I immediately knew how to use it. Like I didn't have to be like, oh, what's this? Like, what's this? Like I knew, and like everything is so natural and organic.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever change from an iPhone unless I get rid of a smartphone altogether. That's the only choices for me.
Yeah,
But
I do sometimes feel like just like.
But again, that's another side of the conversation we could go down in terms of that. But I didn't even know I needed an iPhone at a younger age until I had everything you could do. Imagine going back and telling your younger self, there's going to be this thing in the future that you're going to own that does all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that sounds amazing. How much that's going to cost? Like £1 billion.
I always think about that, but go back 100 years or so to some major historian and you tell him, I've got the entire world's knowledge in my pocket all the time.
Yeah.
Goes, oh, great. So you are the cleverest man alive.
Yeah, you're the cleverest man in the world then.
Yeah.
No.
They'd just kill you, wouldn't they? They'd be like stone you to death and
Yeah, you'd be like in medieval times, they'd just like burn you on the stake. You'd be like a witch or a wizard.
Yeah.
But
there's the kind of thing I bizarrely think about quite often is things that you could, if you time traveled, that you could present to people depending on like where you went. But like, I think everyone defaults to medieval. You go to a castle.
Yeah.
You're always in a castle
You
when
go
you
to
time
a
travel back to
castle,
fantasy. No
and
matter
you're
what.
just like,
And you go and you pull out this glowing box. What is to them a glowing box?
Yeah.
Because there is no other explanation. And even just going like pressing the camera icon and pointing it at something.
Imagine,
I think that's it. I think that's their mind shutting
And
down. There's no concept
they
of
don't
it.
understand because they can't wrap their head around understanding what it is, because we've slowly been brought up and are still going into the future of being taught about this stuff. But to drop it on someone from scratch and being like, this is this thing, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Imagine if someone came to us and they poured liquid in our hand and it was fluid and it was pouring down our hand.
Yeah.
And they were from the future and they said, oh, that's the new phone. They said, oh, that's taking a picture of you as you're doing that. And you'd be like, what the fuck? You wouldn't even understand, would you? You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, or you just like, or another interesting idea would be like in a future where maybe they don't have this technology, being like, look what we had.
And there you go to the future and you're like, yeah, look at it. And they're just like, what? Like laughing their head off. They're like, have you seen what phone he's got? Fucking iPhone.
Fucking granddad iPhone. Their iPhones are like built into their eyes. Literally iPhone. And they're like just eye movements that control it.
There are so many fucking product ideas in this episode.
They got quite a lot of this out.
Well, number one on the list is television. I'm going to just completely skip it because that is a future podcast, and like I think we'll get too easily sucked into programs.
Should we just say iPhone was number one?
I think, to be honest, reasonably it kind of is, because it is a television,
and it's got television.
And that's not to just dismiss television. I think everyone knows the benefits of television, and probably.
But even
want to
nowadays,
hear about it,
most people would choose an iPhone over television. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Does anyone go to sleep with their iPhone under their pillow or anything?
Holly tends to go to sleep with the iPhone under her head.
What, do you remember one time where, like, because I've been trying not to, and like past like a few nights, like here and there, I will like
Apart from last night.
catch myself falling asleep and just sort of like sleepily drop it onto the floor. But there have been times
face.
where I've woken up with it stuck to my cheek, or Mark has woken up with it stuck to his back. So
well, yeah, that's because I sleep with my iPhone under my pillow sometimes. Like I'm just on it up until late, and then I go, I slide it under my pillow. And last night I slept with my iPhone under my pillow, and when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't there, and there was a £1 coin in its place. And I said, damn that Bluetooth fairy.
you fucking dickhead.
Mark could see the setup after like
I saw the change in how it was like, first of all, this is actually a normal, no, this isn't a normal story now. It's got different intonation. It's just shift. It's about a 2-degree angle that it shifts.
That's right. Yeah, a subtle change in an accent.
Oh. I didn't see that coming at all. When you said it got to the pound bit, and I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Bluetooth.
If that wasn't all just a setup for that joke, I would say
the whole podcast so far.
I would give a tip, or like the only way that's kind of turned away from me is
I know, but
iPhone.
in all honesty, I don't sleep with my iPhone in my bedroom anymore.
Oh right, so
good.
I charge mine wirelessly, which means I have to put it away.
Yeah.
Like it has to go away from me to be charged.
Yeah.
Like,
what I've been doing recently, like to try and stop it, is just like when I'm in bed, instead of lying down and then having the screen like lying down, is sitting up if I'm gonna go on the internet before bed, and then when I'm can feel myself dropping off, put it down.
I guess because then it feels
down.
like more like necessarily if you were sat up reading a book, because you wouldn't necessarily lie down on the pillow and have a book right over your face.
No.
But the
I did try as a kid because I was lazy and I just wanted
just couldn't be bothered to turn a page.
Yeah,
but it is difficult because it's what I think is for convenience completely understandable because it's an alarm, but I think relationship and personal connection between humans, it's really sad that the majority of people in the world, the first thing they do in the very morning is, before they even think about life and think like, oh, I've got another day alive and all that hippie shit, is they grab their phone.
Yeah,
like the very first thing they do.
Apparently, like there's like the first half an hour in the morning you shouldn't look at your phone. Apparently, like even like if it's just for a little bit, like the first half an hour.
For what benefit?
Just like
just try and be a bit more connected to the moment instead of this dictating your the moment. But it's hard because this becomes a convenience tool, like a calendar, an alarm clock, an email, a message that is going to form the construct of your week or your day.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing, and I guess it maybe still is relevant because of the fact that I haven't got out of bed, but the one morning ritual that stays exactly the same with me is going on Sky Sports News and reading a summary of what the papers say. I go straight to the Sky Sports News, I go straight to the story that's on there every day, what the papers say. So I can... But how different is that to 40 years ago, getting up and reading the newspaper?
Paper, yeah.
The only difference is I ain't got up yet. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not much difference. That's my one nearly unchangeable ritual, is finding out what the sports paper
That's
says.
sort of what I was going to say, because like if you didn't, without phones, you'd have, on your way to work, you'd have gone past the newsagents, picked up a newspaper on your way, and then read it on your way to work. Whereas, now exactly like you said, I can check the headlines on my phone. Well, now I can ask a smart speaker to tell me the news.
I do the same thing. Mine's set to a routine and does the whole thing. But it's the only thing is because there's such an avenue of other distractions. So as a site like the old version of that would be the options available are here on the newsstand, and now it's like, here's a fucking arcade, and here's some fucking naked women, and here's a fucking lady over it, and there's like all this stuff available at your at first.
So where do you? I need to have your mornings a bit more.
That's where do you? That's the news agent I go to.
This is why his phone's not in his room.
That's the news agent I go to. I'm just like, I just want to buy a fucking newspaper. That's because all that stuff's available to you. That's the distraction.
I think it's more about like, I've been trying lately, like, because like obviously there have been some things in my life recently where I felt like particularly haunted by things like WhatsApp and stuff like that, where like things I don't want to like be affecting my life
first thing in the morning,
or like anywhere outside of particular places are affecting my life, like bleeding through. I think it's more about like cultivating what's on your phone. So like, you know, be on Instagram, but like, you know, maybe just follow accounts that are like art accounts.
Everyone has to, it's down to you individually to have the power to do it yourself. And everyone's different, so I'm not going to tell anyone to do anything to tell anyone to do anything in a certain way. One thing I will say is how boring did it used to be when someone would get out a wad of holiday photos and be like, oh, look at my holiday to Bognor Regis. And you'd be like, oh, that's fucking great, Karen. I don't really want to look at these, but I'll be polite. And we didn't want to look at anyone's fucking holiday photos. So why the fuck would anyone want to look at anyone's Instagram? Damn.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at that.
Yeah.
But I digress.
No,
I-
you're
that's a
entirely,
good
you're
point.
entirely
You're right.
right. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, it is relevant to technology. And it has like the whole episode has made me think that maybe we need to do like a social media episode or something. But like, I do think
Probably,
it's just
yeah.
going to devolve into us just being depressed at life
And sounding like old boomers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
back in my day.
But then what's I don't know. I find the Boomer Zoomer thing like really, really kind of like jarring because yeah, you've always had the back in my day mentality, but I don't think it's ever been as wide of a gap as it is these days because the back in our day is like the Stone Ages to Zoomers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a really cool BuzzFeed video I'll actually show you after this that compares like all the different generations and like it's really like the new generation really scare me because I think they're kind of like they're like aliens from another planet. Like
I think we've got to be really careful, especially when we're putting something into the public.
Oh,
And
yeah,
any
no,
of this,
I don't
any of
mean,
this
like-
should be cut out.
I
Don't
mean,
worry.
like-
don't
No,
worry.
but like it's just say a lot of the new or
Yeah.
some of the new generation because
Yeah.
I think there's just as
And they
many
take things
people
so
from the
personally.
new generation
I just-
that are the same, exactly the same
yeah,
as us.
no, I
they
just
have
like
different tools.
I don't mean like in terms of like they scare me like they're dangerous, like as in like they're another species, like a higher species, like be like you said, like the gap between us and boomers is wide, but imagine how wide the gap is going to be between us and Generation Z.
Wait, and then one but beyond them.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on, aren't Generation Z Zoomers? I think that's why they're called Zoomers.
Yeah,
It
Generation.
all confuses the fuck
Generation-
out
Well,
of me.
you're a millennial.
Yeah, Generation
Am
Z
I?
is
Yeah.
Am I?
after a
Yeah.
millennial.
I'm 2 months away from being a millennial.
Yeah.
And it'd be like Zing Zong Ting whatever X Zimblom Bloomer, the new one, whatever the
Yeah.
next one will be. It'll be something else, something completely
Well,
different.
I think that it's actually like Y, like it's Generation Y.
I don't
Oh,
care. I
Generation
don't.
Y now.
I don't
is it?
care what one I am.
It's
I don't
the
care.
next
I think.
one.
No, that's yeah.
I think that the current generation or some of the current generation that are so hung up on that thing think that they have such a like some sort of self-righteous thing to dictate what anyone is. They don't actually realise that nobody cares what one they are. They could just drift from thing to thing.
No.
I'd be like, I
No.
don't mind which
Yeah.
one I am.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting though because it's like so for example, we've been learning about at university how you have different ages in the earth based on the effect they had on the strata, on the different layers in the earth, because each generation or each period of time, like the Jurassic or like any time, leave specific fossils and a specific physical mark on that soil. I think that's just the same as those generations. So you have like the baby boomers who would leave their specific physical mark, and then you have the Gen Xers, the millennials, and like every one is like a different layer.
I'm very proud of being Generation X, by the way. I always thought it was the coolest
Generation
name.
X.
I always thought it was the coolest name. I always thought of Generation
Actually,
X, the X-Men people. but-
Generation X have that like highest the highest rate of nihilism
Hello.
and the highest rate of drug use, I think, as well, out of
Are we
any
back
of the
in a second?
generations.
And then also, all they'll be leaving behind is a layer of plastic.
Ah.
Yeah, that's like from the video I'll show you later. It's like they're known as like the depressing generation.
Yeah, it was
was
everyone knows about it. It was the 80s.
It was the experimental one. Anything
Yeah,
that's been done
70s,
since has
80s.
already been done, and they'd be like, yeah, we already did that. And yeah, like
Yeah.
there's nothing that anyone could. They just tried everything, didn't they? Because a lot more freedom.
I think I'm just going to read out a few of those. It's because it's interesting because we've gone to generations. I'm just going to read out a few of those inflation ones.
Oh, cool.
And that's just because I did mention earlier on that I would come back to the Game Boy. So Game Boy, it was released in 1989 for $89.99. With inflation, let's just say now, even though it's not, but like with inflation, it would cost $172.
Whoa.
Which doesn't actually sound that crazy
I think you'd
because
probably
the
pay
Switch,
that.
which you can plug into the TV, only costs 199 quid.
How much was it back then?
89.99. Which
Really?
That would have
And-
been a lot back then, though.
but I
That is a
remember
hell
it
of a
being around that price, and at the time thinking, well, and this is stupidly entitled, but like thinking, why didn't I have one if it was that cheap? But then I guess I wasn't aware of how much money that was.
No,
Like,
I
it
was
was
thinking
under
the
100
opposite.
quid.
That's just kind of made me
Because-
realise how much money that was back at the time.
I was like, I must have been
That was back-
I was young enough to not appreciate the concept of money and how much things cost.
Yeah.
That was
Until this moment, I've never thought about how much they have actually cost. But yeah, for me to have one at that age, when Pokemon was brand new, like the first generation of Pokemon come out on that Game Boy, and it was the best thing ever. Like, oh shit, 90 quid for that. Probably, I'd imagine the cartridges themselves have been what, 30 quid?
I can't remember. The thing is, the annoying thing about this is it goes back to what I said on one of the probably the 1990 podcast, that how was it I can't get my head around it. It was 1989. In my head it's 94. It's like I'm 5 years out on the decade. I don't know how many drugs I took. It wasn't many. It wasn't many. But yeah, like 1989. It didn't even come out in the 90s. It came out in 1989.
Yeah,
what are you fucking talking about, bruv?
That is mental.
This one is the one that this is the one I really wanted to get to, and they're both connected. So VCR, and there's a picture of the OG VCR. It looks like some kind of crazy 1940s World War II relic device. We're released in 1976 for $1,280 and would cost $5,333.
Wow.
Now.
That's crazy, because
That's
pretty much,
what?
I would say pretty
That's
much
mental.
most households probably had one, didn't they?
Yeah.
but
they did,
I think we had one probably just ahead of real every single household having one just before, so we were nowhere ahead of the curve. But I the first VCR I ever saw was Dark Crystal, so I think that came out in 1984, so that gives you the time frame.
Yeah.
I used to get my fingers trapped in the VCR all the time.
And we
Well,
weren't.
without a tape in there, you just used to.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I just used to and then I get them trapped, and my mum would be like, "Well, that's kind of your fault."
Then press play.
rewind.
But then what I was trying to get to on that one was that we were nowhere near even middle class. We didn't have very much money, so even by 1984 they were affordable.
Oh yeah.
And to go with that, though, in 1976 the blank cassette cost $20, which would now cost $83.
What?
Crazy.
But one thing about this I absolutely adore is the picture that they've used for the blank VCR is so ridiculously now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything about that, the creases, the age,
Yeah.
the colours,
That's
the
amazing.
font, everything about it is so trendy.
Yeah, like that's the kind, people would have that as a phone.
Yeah.
case.
Spot on.
Yeah,
And one of the things about VCRs, which and VHS tapes, was you being able to go to the shop and rent a movie or whatever on tape, or Blockbuster, obviously Blockbuster, for anyone who's of the new super generation, whatever it's called. Blockbuster used to be able to rent videos.
Yeah.
But what was annoying, if you never really checked, if you put it in and the person hadn't rewinded it,
Yeah,
rewound
be kind,
it.
rewind.
fucking out, and you'd be like, duh.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Before spoiler alert was even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
What the
Most of
hell,
the time it's
man?
just the credits, but yeah. Sometimes I swear they put it just on the pivotal scene,
just on the bit you didn't want them to.
yeah. My I always say this, but my favorite video was Neverending Story, and I remember I watched it in part 1, and I had to go to bed, so I watched it the next night as well.
Are you still watching it now? Are you part by part?
Yeah,
Because it's still not finished.
yeah.
Oh, she's just got to the rock eaters.
Never ending. Fucking hell. Those rocks actually used to look pretty tasty, because they were all shiny. They look like Frosties or something like that.
I went straight out in the garden and tried to ride a snail as a vehicle. I've seen you.
Snail was like, "This ain't my trail, baby."
Oh,
I've got
Barry.
2 more crazy ones, and I think
Okay.
these are crazy. One I love, and this one is just absolutely crazy. 2004, 1 gigabyte SD memory card,
yeah.
$499.
What the
What
With
the
inflation, $628. In real money, about a $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They cost. I think you get a 1 gig for a $5.
That is
unless you're going for a
ridiculous.
proper hardcore camera SD card, you're looking at about a $5
Yeah.
to a tenner for
That's
just an
nuts.
SD. But
That
yeah,
makes you think, at what point did terabytes come in? And in 2004, a terabyte must have been
It's a
unthinkable.
chair.
Yeah.
A terabyte. So what? 2004. I don't think I even knew the term.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like having to buy another SD card because there wasn't enough space. Like you wanted more space, and now you've got
Yeah.
these endless iPhone. Just send it up to the cloud
Clouds.
for
Cloud.
79p
Yeah.
a month, and
We have
Yeah.
you have cloud farms. You know, like server farms. They have underground buildings that house. What's up from terabytes?
What?
What is up
Oh.
from terabytes?
Oh, I think it's.
I read this
quantum-
today while I was doing my research for the facts.
Wait, I'll look it up.
Zettabytes, I think, is a thing.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'll do
boomer
it.
bytes.
But I'll just move on whilst you're looking that up to, and I find this interesting because of what we talked about with iPhones. Okay, so iPhone X, what we know, iPhone 12. Is that where we are?
Are we?
Is it 12
thought it
or
was still
11?
10.
11? No,
11.
this is a 10. So this is a 10s. So yeah, 11.
Yeah.
iPhone 11 that's just come out is like the cheapest one is like 1,100 quid, and everyone's like, iPhones are so it's all so much. Might as well buy a house. First generation mobile phones, aka the Zach Morris phone, when released in 1983, cost $3,995. With inflation, would be $9,542, and all you could do was look like a fucking twat.
You
Look at it; it's
You-
bigger than a house.
What? You actually could buy it for £9,000. That is a house deposit.
Look at that guy though.
I like his tie, mine.
I like his beard.
That's a strong beard, yeah.
Oh, they're
snap.
on to us.
So the next up from terabyte is a petabyte, which, if you want context, is 1,048,576 gigabytes.
How is that one up from a gigabyte?
And the next one is an exabyte, which
Terabyte.
is
A terabyte, yeah.
1,024 petabytes, and then a zettabyte, which is 1,024 exabytes, and then you've got the big boy, the yottabyte, which is 1,204 zettabytes, or 1208-925-819-614-629-174-706-176 bytes.
That was how he got around Dagobah, wasn't it? Yoda bike.
Oh, Yoda riding a bike. Fucking amazing.
Trike, like one of those ones with the handles.
Where it's like up here, just like
I want to know what was big enough and needed to invent a memory size that big to describe it.
Well, I guess these cloud farms, like I
Yeah.
said, like you got to imagine you imagine the amount of devices hooked up to the iCloud, and I think the minimum plan you can have for the iCloud is 64 gig. So you times that by 100 million least, like minimum, absolute minimum.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the iCloud at 64 gig. So you imagine the people that got the 256 gig plan, and then the max on the iCloud.
what about the internet? Doesn't the internet is the internet unlimited? Like, is that like so? Like, does the internet need storage?
Yeah, so the internet is not.
But everyone's
what you think.
everyone's buying their own storage towards it, aren't they?
Yeah,
Ah,
the
okay.
internet isn't what you think. So if you accessed a web page,
Yeah.
it could be running off of that hard drive
Yeah,
behind you.
it's going
Okay.
on to the whole thing's made up of everyone's individual. I've bought this much space. I've bought this much space, but
Okay.
everyone overall's
Yeah.
bought loads of space.
The
Okay.
internet isn't one overall body; it's a series of interconnected links.
Okay.
So when you
But that would be fucking astronomical. That if you did put it into
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's probably where that came from. Is
Yeah.
if you conglomerate it. Did I do my fact? Do you remember if I did my fact on air about information? The head of Google.
I've been swearing quite a lot. I don't know if you still swear. I just realised it. Was
Yeah.
quite a-
Yeah.
You might need to edit it.
No,
Just
no,
leave
You
it.
need to cancel the
I just feel like,
entire-
yeah,
There's
fucking
just been-
all this and F
There
and
hasn't
this
been a
and F and
single
that.
C for about
I
a season and a
Oh,
half.
okay.
I don't know if you did. Just say it anyway, and if you did, then.
And I've kind of forgotten the time frame, so I'm going to make it up and hope that it was
oh
right.
yes, I know which
So
one. No,
the-
you haven't.
The head of Google, I read this fact in Neil Gaiman book that the head of Google said that every 2 days? Does that sound familiar?
Every 2 days.
Every 2 days, the amount of information that's generated onto the internet is equal to the rest of humanity's information generation.
Every 2 days.
What,
Yeah.
The previous 2 days of life is equal to the rest of
the
humanity.
entirety of humanity?
Yeah.
I don't know whether
Like 10,000 years.
I don't know whether it encompasses. I think it's probably maybe before the internet, because otherwise those 2 days are going to have to
wouldn't
encompass the 2
Yeah.
days. But I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it even is. Maybe it's
That'd be more,
exponential.
but even that is fucking impressive.
But yeah, so the information generated is bigger than all of the
Wow.
libraries, all of the pictures, paintings, photos, ideas, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like a big bang of information.
Okay, we've done our top 10, we've done our brass facts, and we've pretty much gone off on a tangent on both of those. So I think that's probably a good time to leave it this week. Check us out on all the social medias. Go to Google, search Pretty Random Podcast. Check me out on Twitch, streaming some days under Pretty Random Network.
Might
I'd love
just
to give you a
be
schedule. It just
one
doesn't
day.
happen. There's no schedule. Everyone loves it. That's why it's Pretty Random. I've been Mark. You've been Holly.
Yeah.
You've been Luke.
yeah.
And you've been the returning
Return of the Jeds.
Jedediah Springfield.
true.
Return of the Jed
I phone.
penguins.
Don't call it a combat. I've just got one thing left to say.
Yeah.
Technola, gee whiz, this was fun.
Oh my god.
We'll catch you in 2 weeks when we'll be back with another random topic. Bye.
Laters.
Let's buy.
This episode of the Pretty Random Podcast was brought to you by Kath Hunt's Bath Bombs, now in administration.